Welcome, it's Captain Matt, Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon, author of the book Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon, and creator of the program Boater Boot Camp and many more like Total Boat Control, Docking Mastery, Best Boat Captain, Trailerlica Pro, Tow Water Sports with Confidence, Confident Coastal Boater. And today we're talking about stopping mold and mildew, the bane of a lot of boaters' existence, and it is awful. So here's what you need to know. This is why mold and mildew grow and what they need to grow. First, they need dirt, which is their food. Anything that is dirt, food residue, grease from sunscreen, any of that stuff needs to be there. Next, it needs to be damp. It needs to be in a moist environment. Number three, it needs to be dark. It loves to grow in dark. And then fourth, the temperature, it grows best between 77 and 86 degrees, but it can also grow in wider ranges. It just grows fastest at those, which is what? Our boats, right? Our boats, they get dirty with sunscreen and body oil and dirt and fingerprints and Cheeto dust, and it's damp because there's always water around. We put the covers on and it's dark. We think we're doing the right thing and we're using them in the summer. That is a recipe for perfect breeding ground for mold and mildew. This is sponsored by our Boater's Secret Weapon shop, our boat shop, where you can get all the cleaning supplies, docking gear, boating gear that you need. So how do you stop mold and mildew? Well, we know what it needs, so now we know what we can starve it of. Keep the boat clean, keep the boat dry, and get airflow and air moving so that we can continue an environment where it's least likely to grow, okay? So those are the keys. Here's some best practices for you. If you wipe down the seats every time after use, so what I use is I just use whatever beach towels we're using for the day, and I wipe down the interior. Now, I don't just wipe off what I can see. I open the seats, and I wipe along the edges. I wipe around the drainage area where the water can flow through. Next, you want to remove any wet items, wet towels. If you have carpet in your boat, try to get that as dry as you can. Any water toys, life jackets, a roll of paper towels that may have got wet during the day, and empty all water from all compartments. That's your ski locker, your live well, your bait well, anywhere where water can collect. You want to get that all out. Any internal coolers that you have, and then let dry out prior to covering. What I like to do is get all that stuff, leave all of the compartments open, all of the seats open, and just let it sit as we're getting hooked up at the trailer. I may even tow it home with the cover off, depending on how wet it was. If we're at the lake, I may let it sit out in the sun. Outside, I may, before we're heading up for the day, I may tie it off outside of the covered slip so that that sun can get down and dry as much out as possible. I use damp rid for any extended storage periods. If the boat's real wet, have some damp rid on hand that you can put in there to absorb as much of that moisture as possible and limit what mold and mildew need to grow. And then allow some airflow. So if I'm putting it away and I know it's damp and I know I'm not going to be back for a couple of days, that's all it takes is a couple of days. I'm going to flip open the cover and I'm going to allow some airflow through there, because otherwise what happens is that all that humidity from whatever's wet, the carpet, the seats, whatever's wet in there, if you got caught in a rainstorm, sometimes it's impossible to put it away dry. So I'm going to leave that flap open in the bow and in the stern so that we can get some airflow through there to dry it out, but also so that moisture has a way to escape in the hot sun, and it's not just creating a super humid greenhouse environment that the mold and mildew are going to start sprouting spores almost instantly that first time the sun comes up and it gets warm in there. But you don't want to leave it so open that you're going to allow rain in. If you don't have vents in your canvas cover, you might want to consider installing some of those. We have them at the store. They're pretty easy to install and allow natural airflow all the time. And then you also may want to use mold or mildew prevention. I've got right over there, Xanago is what I use on my boat. It's actually a spray you put on 3 or 4 times a year. It lasts about 90 days, depending on how long your season is. And you just spray it on all of the surfaces, the upholstery in the ski locker and your storage compartments, anywhere that mold and mildew is likely to get started. You spray it on there after you clean it good. You let it dry, and now you're going to be even more protected from mold and mildew, which ruins more boats in the interior than anything I can think of. This is how to remove it. So let's say, hey, you didn't catch this video in time and you got mold and mildew started. Here's how you start. You clean the seats with warm water, okay? So just warm water, maybe a 10-to-1 water to vinegar, white vinegar mixture, clean it. Then you get out the Xanago mold and mildew remover. This is what I used on my seats. My seats had some mold and mildew. It's a 20-year-old boat. It's an '04. So 21-year-old boat. Owner kept it in good condition, but hey, it's the environment. It's got mold and mildew on it. I brought this out and I cleaned it. It looks amazing. I've got the video footage. I've just got to edit it. And then I sprayed it with the Xanago protector. And that way, when I put it away for this winter, I was very comfortable that I wasn't going to have to worry about that. Do that 2 to 4 times a year, depending on, like I said, where you're at. If you're in the Midwest and your boating season is 4 or 5 months, hey, you can get away with twice a year, maybe even once a year. But it's real simple. We've got it at the store. You can get it at boatersecretweapon.com. Just type in Xanago in the top right search. And they also have a waterless wash, which if you want to maintain it, I prefer just the water and vinegar solution. They've got a great another one for docks to keep mold and mildew off your docks if you want to check that out. You can also check out, if you're buying a boat, the Boat Shopper, the Boat Buyer's Toolkit. If you're a current owner of a boat, the Boater Boot Camp is an amazing program. That 3-part video series, the things you just don't know, super valuable. And remember, life truly is better on a boat. And the shirt's available. I don't want you to have to break out another 1,000. That's why we provide all this information, so you don't need this shirt, and you can have the shirt that says life is better on the boat. That's what I like better. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon.